What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
First, it's a day at the pier with a story about a fish who could wish.
He wished he could fly, and to his delight flew twice round the world in exactly one night.
Mara reads the adventures of a girl who wakes up feeling just a little bit unusual.
And much to her surprise, she sat up on her bed and croaked and started eating flies.
Yuck!
Then, A. Martinez reads a tale about some magic water.
Cupping his hands, he brought a cold mouthful to his lips, and the sensation he felt was like nothing he'd ever felt before.
And a story about a young girl's summer visit to the shore.
Grandpa kept some of the fish they caught in a net in the water. Every evening, Stina pulled it out of the water and chose a fish for dinner.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, by the annual financial support from viewers like you, and by the National Endowment for Children's Educational Television.
After you apply your colors, you have to let them dry. Are you listening, Kino?
Uh-huh.
A heartfelt touch, guided by your feelings and your mind. Treat your work with love and you'll be happy with the results.
The master at work. I'm almost done.
Well, when we're done, I have a story for us to read. Interested, Kino?
Ah, there! My masterpiece is complete. Boy, this is really fun. And now, the story.
Doesn't it feel great to paint out here in the fresh air?
Well, it's good, but I don't know about fresh. It smells pretty fishy around here. Everything would be even a lot better with a story, Lucy.
All right. A story, then. The Fish Who Could Wish. Written by John Bush and illustrated by Corky Paul. In the deep blue sea, in the deep of the blue, swam a fish who could wish, and each wish would come true. Oh, the fun that he had. Oh, the things he would do, just wishing away in the deep water blue. He wished for a castle. Look at that. He wished for a car. Run, run. He wished for a horse and a Spanish guitar. Once, when he wished he could go out and ski, it snowed for a week under the sea. He wished he could fly, and to his delight flew twice round the world in exactly one night. If sharks came a-hunting for a nice fishy treat, he'd quickly just wish he was too small to eat. And to teach sharks a lesson, do you know what he'd wish?
No.
That he was a shark, and the shark was a fish. He'd wish himself square or round as a biscuit, triangular, oval, name it, he wished it. He wished for fine suits and handsome silk ties. But the one thing he never wished was to be wise. One day, just for fun, that silly old fish wished the silliest wish he could wish. That silly old fish wished he could be just like all the other fish in the sea. But wishing was something other fish could not do. So that was his very last wish that came true. Kino, where'd you go?
Oh, over here.
There you are. What's going on?
Oh, I wish I could catch the fish who could wish. I wish.
I thought you would wish for another story.
Oh, I did. I wish.
All right, let's go back to the story corner and maybe your wish will come true.
Okay, let's go.
No, Kino's not here. He went to the beach with Lucy. I don't know what time they'll be back. You know, I thought they'd be back a long time ago because Kino wanted to listen to some stories. Okay. All right. Goodbye. I wonder if they'll ever get back. Well, I won't wait any longer. I've got other things to do.
Wait!
Kino?
I'm coming, Mara. Wait for me. What?
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'll be right there.
I guess we'll be reading after all. That Kino must have secret powers that tell him when stories should be read.
Did you think I wouldn't smell some reading about to happen?
Well, I didn't know when you'd come back from the beach, so I was just about to start doing something else.
Well, I'm back, and look what I did.
Kino, that is great. Oh, you should frame it and hang it on the wall.
Isn't it wonderful? Let me see what I can do with it.
Oh, gee, thanks, Lucy. Oh, Mara, could we read a story now?
We sure can.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is the story of Green Wilma, and it was written and illustrated by Ted Arnold.
Okay.
One morning, Wilma woke up green, and much to her surprise, she sat up on her bed and croaked and started eating flies.
Yuck.
She washed, she dressed, she combed her hair, she quickly made her bed. She hopped onto the breakfast table. "Pass the bugs," she said. "Green children should not go to school," she heard her mother fuss. But out the window, Wilma jumped and rode off on the bus. In class, Green Wilma tried, but simply couldn't keep her seat. In gym, while playing dodgeball, Wilma never could be beat. In art, the kids thought being green was absolutely great, but teacher said, the green must be from something that she ate. At story time, poor Wilma felt so hungry she could cry. And then she saw on teacher's nose a tasty little fly. She tasted all around the room and up and down the hall and through the lunchroom. That's the place that flies love best of all. The principal yelled, "Stop her! She should know we have a rule that children aren't allowed to munch on flies while they're in school." Then out the door, Green Wilma hopped into the hills beyond. And finally, she caught that fly up over Miller's Pond. See, she caught the fly right on the tip of her tongue.
Oh, yeah.
Wilma landed in the water with a noisy splash. She met a very hungry fish and woke up in a flash. Then she recalled the words they teach to every little frog. When you dream, be careful that you don't fall off the log.
That was good. Oh, did you ever pet a frog? Huh? Well, okay, if you never, ever touched a frog, I'm gonna tell you a secret.
What's the secret?
Well, frogs are cold when you touch them because their blood is cold. My grandpa told me that.
And not all frogs are green.
Well, Wilma was.
Was what?
Green. Wilma was green. And she liked flies. She liked to zap them with her tongue, even when they were flying. Now me, I never eat anything that's still moving. Just think, Mara, a fly could be flying along, minding its own business, and all of a sudden, ribbit, out of nowhere, this sticky tongue zaps it, and goodbye. Ribbit.
Do you have frogs in here?
No. That was just me.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought we were in the middle of a swamp. Kino, do you want to see a wonderful story that I brought with me?
Can frogs jump? Hey, let's do it. Ya-ta-ta-ta-ta-boom. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta, ya-pa-pa-pa-pa-boom. Ra-ta-ta-ta-ta-boom. Ra-ta-ta-ta.
Oh, what a wonderful dancer, Kino. This is my daughter, Devin.
Oh, hi, Devin. I'm pleased to meet you. What book did you bring, huh?
Well, now this is a wonderful book called Magic Spring. It's from the faraway land of Korea, and it was written and illustrated by a woman named Nami Ree. Let me read it to you. Once upon a time, at the edge of a village, lived a kind old man and his wife. Though the man was so old that his beard was white as snow and his back was bent like an arch, he went every day to cut wood in the forest, for he had no child to help him. And every day the old woman sewed for hours alone in the house, for she had no child by her side. Their neighbor was a greedy old man who was so wealthy he could hire servants to do his bidding. When he saw the old man struggling with his axe, he would laugh and say, "Ha, ha, ha, old man, where is your son to help you?" He sneered at the old woman's patched-up clothes. But the old couple never complained, not even to each other. One beautiful spring day, the old man went to the middle of the forest to cut wood. The wind blew softly and the sun tilted lazily between the branches of the trees. It is too lovely to start work just yet, he thought, and sat for a moment on a nearby stump. Just then, a tiny bluebird landed on a branch not a yard from the old man. Her singing was so sweet and pure, each note was like a drop of rain. The old man quickly forgot everything else. Then, suddenly, the bird flew away to another tree. The old man followed, moving quickly to the bird's new perch. But as soon as he caught up, the bird flew farther away and continued her song. Once again, the old man followed the bird through the woods, over the stream, up one side of a mountain and down again. And the old man kept following, drawn by the silver lure of her notes. Finally, with a flash of blue wing against a broad expanse of green, the bird flew into a valley. Landing on a broad, flat rock, she cocked her head at the old man and continued to sing. With a few more steps, huffing and puffing, the old man caught up. As he caught his breath, the old man noticed a small spring flowing between the rocks. He was so thirsty, no water had ever seemed more clear or inviting. Cupping his hands, he brought a cold mouthful to his lips, and the sensation he felt was like nothing he'd ever felt before. It was as if the water had splashed ice clean over every part of him at once. He lay down on the grass, and even his long, bent back seemed to relax and uncurl as he fell into a deep sleep. When he woke, the orange sun hung low between the mountains. The old man clenched and unclenched his fists. He bounced up on his toes, flexing the muscles in his legs. Never had he felt so calm and yet full of energy. Bounding off like a young gazelle, he ran all the way back to the forest and finished his entire day's work. Can you believe that? walked through the door to his house that evening, the old man's wife stared at him, open-mouthed. "Oh, my goodness, what has happened to you?" she cried. "What? What is wrong?" asked the old man. The old woman gently took her husband's fingers and pressed them against the smooth, firm skin of his face. Then the old man's jaw dropped, and he realized what had happened. He had become young again. Shaking with excitement, he told his wife all about the bluebird's song and the magic spring. They both cried tears of joy. In the morning, the man led his wife back to the valley and showed her the spring. After one quick drink, she too became strong and limber again. Then the handsome young couple returned home together, full of plans for the future. Now, the greedy neighbor watched all the changes in the couple. One day, he approached them as they worked in their garden. "Good fortune seems to shine upon you, my friends," the neighbor said with a forced smile. "Yes, it does," said the husband. "If only we had a child to share it with." "Yes, yes, yes," the old man said, cutting him off. "But how did you get to be so young and strong?" The young man told the secret of the spring and happily pointed the way. "All you need is one sip," the husband said. But the greedy old neighbor was already off, eager to get to the spring. Sure enough, he soon came to the valley and found the spring bubbling between the rocks. He fell to his knees, scooping water up to his face with both hands, gulping and slurping until he drunk right down to the bottom of the spring. Then, his belly sloshing with every step, he found a spot in the shade and fell into a deep, deep sleep. That evening, as the hour grew late and their neighbor had not returned to the village, the husband and wife grew concerned. Together, they went out searching for him. And as they neared the valley, they heard a loud cry. They quickened their step and found, wrapped in the cloak of the greedy old neighbor, a tiny baby, kicking its legs helplessly. The wife picked the baby up and held him against her shoulder. Right then, his crying stopped. So the husband and wife took the baby home. They raised him with love, and they all lived happily ever after.
Oh. Oh, that was a really good story. Didn't you think so, Devin? Yeah, that was good. I just have one question, eh?
What's that?
What does greedy mean?
Well, Kino, a greedy person is someone who is never satisfied with what they have.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Does that mean that I'm greedy because I'm always asking for more stories and for pizza?
No. Kino, I think being greedy has more to do with being selfish, wanting more of everything for yourself.
Oh, well, gee, but I always want more stories.
But you're not selfish.
Hi.
You don't ask for stories just for yourself, but also for your friends. And speaking of friends, this is my friend John, and he also loves stories.
Hey, hi, John. Hi, buddy. Can we get another story now, huh?
Oh, look what I have here. It's a story about a little girl who goes to visit her grandpa who lives by the ocean.
Oh, could somebody please, please, please read this story to us? I think I'm coming down with...
Dad will.
Great, because I think I'm coming down with story fever.
Story fever? Story fever, what's that?
If somebody doesn't read a story to me, I start to turn green and eat flies.
Oh,
yeah.
Just like Wilma, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to see you turn green, Kino, so I'll be happy to read this story.
Okay.
This is called Stina, and it's by Lena Anderson. Every summer, Stina visited her grandfather in his house by the sea. And every summer, she went treasure hunting. Smooth sticks, sea glass, feathers. There was so much to be found. Stina and her grandfather always got up early in the morning. Grandpa liked to drink his coffee outside. On calm mornings, the sea was so shiny, it looked as if it had just been painted. After breakfast, they went out in Grandpa's boat to check the nets. Sometimes the nets were full of fish. Sometimes there was nothing but a bit of seaweed. "We did well today," said Grandpa as he hung up the net. "1 turbot, 2 perch, and 4 flounders." "I'm doing well too," said Stina, who had just found a fine seagull feather. Grandpa kept some of the fish they caught in a net in the water. Every evening, Stina pulled it out of the water and chose a fish for dinner. It was always delicious. After dinner, Grandpa made himself a pot of coffee. Sometimes Stina washed the dishes as a surprise. In the evening, they listened to the weather report on the radio.
This evening, the showers and thunderstorms expected to continue into tomorrow.
One night, there was a storm warning. "Did you hear that, Stina?" asked Grandpa. "We're in for a real blow." When Grandpa came to kiss Stina goodnight, her bed was empty. He rushed out of the house calling, "Stina! Stina!" Grandpa found Stina sitting on a rock, crying. "I came out to see the storm," she said, "but I don't like it." Grandpa picked her up and hugged her. "Dear child," he said, "this is no way to see a storm. You're soaking wet, and so am I. Let's go inside and start all over again. If you're going to go out in a storm, there should be at least 2 of you," said Grandpa. "That's important. And you should be properly dressed. Let's go." Grandpa and Stina watched the rain beating down and the waves breaking on the rocks. "I like it better now," said Stina. "And look what the storm has brought." "When I go home, may I take the storm's present with me, Grandpa?" asked Stina. "I don't see why not," said Grandpa. And that's exactly what she did.
Gee, I love that story. Say, Devin, did you have a favorite part? Huh?
Yeah, I'll tell you it.
Yeah?
There's 3 pages. The ocean brought her a box, and she asked her grandpa if she could bring it home with her. The ocean present home with her. And
He said she could?
he said she could.
Boom.
And then she set it up and she put all of her treasures in it.
That was a good part.
That was a good part. Say, John, if you were Stina, would you have gone out to see the storm all by yourself? Do you think you would have been scared?
No, I won't be scared.
You wouldn't be scared?
You're not afraid of the
Oh,
storm?
boy, I think I would have been a little scared.
Oh, Kino, did you tell A about the painting you did today of the ocean?
Hey, yeah. Did you know that I painted the ocean today, huh?
You painted the whole ocean, Kino? You must have used a lot of paint.
Oh, no. I made a painting of the ocean. Do you want to see it? Here, I'll find it. What did I do with it? Cucarachas, it must be here someplace.
Kino, are you looking for your painting? Because I have it right here.
I'll find... Huh? Oh, there it is. But, Lucy,
I know. I framed it for you. Do you like it?
Like it? I love it. Wow.
Oh, I can see why, Kino. That's really beautiful. I'd like to have something like that.
Oh, you would? Oh, well, you can have it, eh? I can paint other ones now that I'm learning how to paint.
Well, that's mighty generous, Kino.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it's nothing. Besides, A came and saved me from the story fever, and he's a friend of mine, and I'd like him to have my painting.
Oh, well, I'm really touched, Kino. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.
Well, since we're in the giving mood, how about giving our friends at home today's story picks?
Yeah. Which book did you bring, Mara?
Well, I found this book from China, and it's called The Great Adventure of Wo Ti. And it's about a fish, one that doesn't wish, but about a fish. I think you'll like the pictures in this one, Lucy.
Oh, I look forward to reading it. And for those of you who like Stina, this is the sequel, Stina's Visit. And that's all for today. Thank you, A, Devin, and John for coming to visit. And come back anytime you want to hear a story. Until then, keep a story in your heart.
Hang loose, compadres.
Today's Storytime books are The Fish Who Could Wish by John Bush and Corky Paul, Green Wilma by Ted Arnold, Magic Spring by Nami Reed, Stina by Lena Anderson, The Great Adventure of Wo Ti by Nathan Zimmelman, illustrated by Julie Downing, and Stina's Visit by Lena Anderson. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, by the annual financial support from viewers like you, and by the National Endowment for Children's Educational Television. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.